Hi there, so in today's video I'm going to be looking at autofocus modes, in particular the autofocus tracking mode, continuous tracking, seeing what you can do with that and how it's used. One of the things that's confused me with the G80 and autofocus tracking is that there's a switch on the back of the camera for you to select autofocus continuous, but there's also an option on the touch screen, and which one takes precedence? What happens if you've set autofocus continuous on the screen but the switch is in AFF or AFS mode, or it's in manual focus mode? What happens? So there are different autofocus modes on the G80. There's autofocus single point, there's autofocus FAFF, not really sure what that stands for, and there's autofocus C, or autofocus continuous. And then in the touchscreen menu there's also autofocus modes like tracking and 49 area and different target shapes that you can make. So as a face priority as well. So there's quite a lot of range, yeah, how do you know which ones to select for which purpose? So in the example you've just seen, the tracking was following me, and it was following me all the way to the back of the garden, to the last bush, and it tracked me all the way back to the camera. Let's now compare that. I'm going to choose the face priority autofocus mode, so let's see how that performs. Okay, so we've seen the two modes there. We've seen the tracking mode and the face priority mode. And what I noticed was that as I got further away, it was less able to recognise my face. And when I got to the final bush in the chain there, it lost me completely and didn't recognise me at all. So that might be a consideration if you're thinking of using face priority autofocus. There's probably a distance there, that minimum distance that you'd want to keep people closer to the camera. And maybe the use of the tracking mode might be something that you'd consider if someone's a bit further away, or you've got an object that is kind of moving through your scene, but not kind of moving very erratically in and out of the scene. Because I think one of the other considerations to bear in mind is the tracking works as long as the subject is in the frame. If the subject moves out of the frame for a few seconds, then the tracking will reset, and you'll have to select that subject once more using the touch screen. The other question I had was how does tracking work if you've also got AFF selected and the switch on the back of the camera? What's the difference between that and AFC? Another point of confusion for me has been that you've got continuous drive mode, you've got tracking. What do you use when? So yeah, how does that work out in real life? What would you select? Would you select multiple shots, or would you select tracking? Yeah, so lots of questions. Now we're talking about multiple continuous drive mode here now. So what are the good things that's useful for? That might be like animals, moving animals, like birds, for example, or it might be sports. You might be wanting to take people on a cricket pitch or a rugby pitch or football or something like that, or even motorsports. And also, what if you've got a camera on a platform that's moving? Is it useful for that? Another thing that I've done is I've used sort of panning as well, so taking shots of moving subjects. Now for that, I'm intentionally wanting to blur the background and keep the subject in focus. So tracking wouldn't really be useful for that, or maybe it would, but it would be with the slow shutter speed, and it wouldn't be using continuous drive mode. With continuous drive mode, you've also got different levels of settings. You can set it to shoot very quickly, or you can slow that down. Okay, so to get to the burst mode menu, we go to the menu button, and it's the shoot mode menu, the camera menu there. We're going to go down to the second page, and you can see there it says burst mode, and you can set that to high, you can set it to super high, medium and low, and that will make a difference to the amount of shots that you can take in a second. That was in high.